is going to be awesome! We are going to be heroes. We are going to bring down the Death Star. Man, I cannot wait! I can't believe I'm finally going onto the front lines for the Rebel Alliance. Oh my fucking god! What can you fucking somebody? What the hell? No one said war was like this! Star Wars Rogue One. Disney, you done it again. This is a friggin' good movie that is better than The Force Awakens and kinda doesn't really deserve all the acclaim it's gotten. Like, really, this is a good movie. It is. I just made that clear, but is it really great? Well, no, I'm afraid to say. Allow me to clarify. Now, this is a darker take on the Star Wars universe. That was something that Disney wanted from the very beginning. But if you remember, there were some reshoots done on this, and in hindsight, it's kind of blatantly clear what those reshoots were for. They wanted to tone down the darkness and put in some greater levity. And it kind of comes to the film's detriment because they do pull it off. This is a much grittier Star Wars film, and it's really apparent in the action scenes, which really come off as like a World War II film like Flags of Our Fathers or Saving Private Ryan through the filter of Star Wars, and the action is a lot grittier and more impactful and even leads to some fantastic emotional moments. But at the same time, there are all these more comical scenes and eccentric characters that just don't mesh with the darker take. And some of that actually boils down to the cast they got. I mean, all the characters present in the movie, they're all eccentric and full of personality and charm, which is nice. But at times they come off more as comical than as a serious threat to the Empire. A particular highlight is the actress they got for the protagonist, our heroine, Felicity Jones. She has the least amount of presence and personality out of the entire cast, and her delivery is more deadpan, and at times, she's actually kinda hokey. Do you remember that line, "Rebellions are built on hope"? When you see it in the movie, and in its right context, it doesn't come off as inspiring, it just comes off as comical. In fact, a lot of what she says when she's trying to be serious does just come off more as comical because her delivery just lacks any presence. But if nothing else, her character never goes close to Mary Sue territory. So if that's a problem you had with Rey in The Force Awakens, don't worry, they fixed it. The main character does not even come close to being a Mary Sue. But if there's one thing that will be very off-putting, it would have to be the film's pacing, at least in the first act. While it starts off pretty clear, it soon gets really, well, rushed. It goes to all these different locations, all these different scenes without the full context, and it's actually kind of confusing. Granted, it all comes together and it eventually slows down and stops going to different places, but don't be surprised if for the first opening 15 to 20 minutes of the movie, you're a little confused as to just who all these people are and what all these places are and just what the hell's really going on outside of what's going on with the Death Star. Speaking of which, the actual concept of seeing how the rebels got the plans for the Death Star in of itself is fantastically utilised. I mean, all the situations they get into, all the things we see within the Star Wars universe, not only through the darker, grittier tone, but just seeing how all of it comes together is enjoyably compelling. Which is another thing, thanks to the dark and grittier tone, we actually do get to see some things in a less savoury light. Like the Rebel Alliance, for instance, they're more fleshed out and we come to realise that not all of them are the clean-cut heroes we were used to in A New Hope or The Empire Strikes Back. We actually see some grittier and more, well, less remarkable characters. People that aren't afraid to kill their competition even if innocents will get hurt. That's awesome to see. And speaking of awesome, Darth Vader makes an appearance in this movie, and he is an absolute highlight. Like, you get to see him just mow down all these rebels using his lightsaber, the Force, and it's just a friggin' awesome scene. I mean, the guy's like a honey badger, he just does not give a and it's only for 2 scenes. One where he makes an appearance to just come off as a badass, and then that scene I just described, which is just one personal pet peeve I have with the film. Because Vader is so friggin' awesome, you're just left wanting more Vader. You're just left wishing there was more of him to see in this. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Star Wars Rogue One is a good, awesome movie. It's a substantial improvement over The Force Awakens. Granted, like The Force Awakens, I wouldn't call it a classic either, but it still shows Disney knows just what the hell they're doing with the Star Wars franchise. If you're a fan of Star Wars, hell, you've already seen it already, you don't need my word for it. But if you're someone who isn't a fan of Star Wars, or is just a little curious, or maybe just looking for something to shut your kids up for a while, yeah, go show them Star Wars Rogue One. You are not going to regret it. This is a really good movie. It's awesome to finally get this out on YouTube, let me tell you. Anyway, hope you guys like this video. If you really like it, then how about you also subscribe? And coming up next, I'm going to have a review of Sing, then after that, Passengers, and Batman: Return of the Caped Crusaders. Got all that and more coming up, so stick around.